rebounds and assists. Clark from the logo and knocks it.
Third quarter, Clark step back on a deep two. Oh, gets the shot.
Caitlin Clark made an unforgettable comeback in the WNBA, where she didn't just perform well, she made history. Facing off against the famous Diana Taurasi and her Phoenix Mercury team, Clark scored 29 points, gave 10 assists, and grabbed 5 rebounds. But it wasn't only about the numbers. This game shook up the race for Rookie of the Year and might even impact the whole playoff picture. The WNBA returned after an Olympic break, and fans were excited. When it was announced that Caitlin Clark would be facing off against Diana Taurasi, the anticipation went through the roof. On one side, there was Caitlin Clark, a rookie sensation who had taken college basketball by storm and was now doing the same in the WNBA. On the other side, there was Diana Taurasi, a living legend in women's basketball. This wasn't just about two players, though. The Indiana Fever, Clark's team, were fighting hard for a spot in the playoffs, while Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury were trying to hold onto their position. Every game mattered as the season was nearing its end. There was another layer of competition as well, the race for Rookie of the Year between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Every game was crucial, and a standout performance by Clark against Taurasi's team could be the deciding factor. Everyone knew this game was going to be special, but no one could have predicted just how dramatic it would be. The game began with the Indiana Fever making a strong statement. They dominated right from the start, leaving the Phoenix Mercury struggling to keep up. By the end of the first quarter, the Fever had taken a commanding 33-16 lead. Caitlin Clark was on fire, scoring 16 points, dishing out 5 assists, and grabbing 4 rebounds in just the first period. But it wasn't just Clark. Kelsey Mitchell, her teammate, was also playing exceptionally well, and the chemistry between the two was incredible. It was as if they had been playing together for years. In the second quarter, the Fever continued their dominance, extending their lead to 28 points. The Mercury seemed completely lost, unable to find any answers to the Fever's relentless offense and stifling defense. At halftime, the Fever were ahead 54-37. It looked like they were cruising to an easy victory, with Coach Christy Sides seeming to have found the perfect game plan. But basketball is a game of runs, and the second half of this game was about to show just how unpredictable it can be. The Phoenix Mercury, known for their resilience, began to mount a comeback in the third quarter. Slowly but surely, they started to chip away at the Fever's lead. The 17-point advantage that had seemed so comfortable began to disappear. Suddenly, what had been a near-perfect game for the Fever started to unravel. The defense that had been so solid in the first half began to falter, and the offense turned into a series of missed opportunities and poor decisions. The Mercury won the third quarter 28-9, cutting the Fever's lead to just 8 points. The pressure was on, and you could see the tension building among the Fever players. At one point, Kelsey Mitchell was involved in a heated discussion, a sign that the stress of the situation was getting to the team. Coach Christy Sides tried everything to stop the bleeding: timeouts, substitutions, defensive adjustments, but nothing seemed to work. The momentum had completely shifted, and it looked like the Fever might suffer a devastating collapse. This was a critical moment for Sides as a coach. She had to find a way to get her team back on track, to stop the Mercury's advance and use her star players, Clark and Mitchell, to regain control of the game. The fourth quarter was approaching, and it was clear that this game would be decided in the final minutes. Sides knew that her decisions in the next few moments could not only determine the outcome of this game, but could also define the Fever's entire season. When it seemed like all hope was lost, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell stepped up in a big way. In the fourth quarter, they took control of the game, showing why they are considered one of the most dangerous duos in the WNBA. Clark, despite being a rookie, showed incredible maturity as she took over the game's pace. She made precise passes and hit crucial shots that kept the crowd on their feet. But it was Kelsey Mitchell who truly shined in the final quarter, hitting 2 key three-pointers that helped seal the win. Clark and Mitchell worked together seamlessly. When the Mercury tried to double-team Clark, Mitchell was left open for easy shots. When they focused on Mitchell, Clark found ways to create scoring opportunities. This was the moment when it became clear just how special this Fever team could be. They weren't just about one player. They had a combination of talent that made them incredibly difficult to defend. In the end, the Fever won the game 98-89, but the score doesn't tell the full story. The Mercury had come dangerously close to pulling off a historic comeback, and the game was on a knife's edge until the very end. But Clark and Mitchell showed that they could handle the pressure when it mattered most. This victory was more than just another regular season win. It was a statement that the Fever were a team to be reckoned with. This win was crucial for the Fever's playoff hopes. With a 12-15 record, they were now in 7th place in the overall standings, and every win at this stage of the season was incredibly valuable. Beating a direct competitor like the Mercury was even more important. The victory also gave the team a huge confidence boost. Beating a team led by Taurasi, especially after almost losing a 28-point lead, showed that the Fever had the resilience needed to survive in the playoffs. For Caitlin Clark, this game further solidified her status as one of the most impactful players in the WNBA. She wasn't just putting up impressive stats, she was leading her team to the playoffs in her rookie season, something that is incredibly rare. The Fever still have a long road ahead, and they will need to maintain this level of play to secure their playoff spot. But with Clark and Mitchell leading the way, and with a win like this under their belt, the Fever have all the tools to be one of the surprise teams in the postseason. And what about the Rookie of the Year race? If there were any doubts about who deserves the title, Caitlin Clark's performance in this game should put them to rest. The race between Clark and Angel Reese has been close all season, but what Clark did in this game might have tipped the scales in her favor. She finished with 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds, making her the first rookie in WNBA history to have multiple games with at least 25 points and 10 assists. That's not just impressive, it's historic. Compare this to Angel Reese's recent performance against the same Phoenix Mercury team. Reese's Chicago Sky were convincingly defeated, and Reese struggled to make an impact. While Clark shined against Taurasi and her team, Reese couldn't do the same. It's not just about the numbers, although Clark's stats are impressive. It's about the impact on the game. Clark isn't just racking up points and assists, she's leading her team in high-pressure situations against some of the best players in the world. Her versatility is unmatched, as she's not just a scorer, but also an elite playmaker who keeps defenses on their toes with her ability to shoot or create for others. While the season isn't over yet, and Reese will have more chances to impress, it's hard to argue against Clark as the clear favorite for Rookie of the Year. She's not just playing well, she's setting new standards for what a rookie can achieve in the WNBA. If Clark continues to perform at this level and leads the Fever to the playoffs, it will be almost impossible to deny her the Rookie of the Year award. Despite the exciting win and Clark's outstanding performance, this game also revealed some weaknesses in the Fever that they need to address if they want to make a deep playoff run. First, there's the issue of their second-half collapse. Allowing a 28-point lead to almost disappear raises concerns about their ability to maintain focus and intensity for a full game. Coach Christy Sides will need to work on keeping her team aggressive and engaged, even when they have a big lead. In the playoffs, where every possession is critical, losing focus could be costly. Another concern is the team's reliance on Clark and Mitchell. While having two star players is a huge advantage, a playoff team needs contributions from everyone on the roster. The Fever need to develop more scoring options to take some of the pressure off their star duo. Additionally, the development of young players like Aaliyah Boston will be crucial for the team's long-term success. Finally, Coach Sides needs to sharpen her decision-making during games. There were moments in this game where it felt like she was reacting to what was happening rather than controlling the flow of the game. In tight playoff games, every decision matters, and Sides will need to be at her best to guide her team to victory. Despite these challenges, the future looks bright for the Fever. With Caitlin Clark at the helm and a promising young core, they are in a great position to make some noise in the playoffs. If they can address their weaknesses and continue to grow as a team, there's no limit to what they can achieve. What do you think about this amazing game? Caitlin Clark is really changing what it means to be a new player in the WNBA, right? But I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think she's already won the Rookie of the Year award, or does Angel Reese still have a chance? And what about the Indiana Fever? Do you think they have the skills and teamwork needed to make a deep run in the playoffs? Or will the issues we saw in the second half of the season hold them back? Are they strong enough to overcome these challenges? Or do you think they need more time to improve? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on whether they can push through or if their struggles will keep them from going far. Let me know what you think in the comments below.